And welcome to Nismo TV News. And everybody else has gone to the Nurburgring and left me on my own, so I've come somewhere a little bit different, and it's the YouTube creative space in London. So let's go and have a look. Here we go. Pretty difficult to get into this place, and we're stuck already. We can't get in. Help! We're going in. Here we go. Inside now. Here we are. YouTube world. Coming up on this week's Nismo TV News, we've got a big announcement from Down Under. We've also got all the latest from the GT Academy, the happenings in Germany, and we've got a special extra guest coming, well, hopefully, and on top of that, GT500 news. Nissan Australia's motorsport plans for 2017 have been released. They're continuing their commitment for the Virgin Australia's Supercars Championship for 2017. If you can't tell, I'm reading this because we got it wrong before. The 2018 season with the Kelly family-owned Nissan Motorsport race team. On top of that, Michael Caruso will drive the number 23 Nissan NISMO entry for a further 2 years, so that's nice for him. And there'll be a two-car entry at the 2017 Bathurst 12 Hours with a pair of those GT3 GT-Rs. That's great. The interesting bit here is Nissan hasn't released all of its plans for Australia. They're just saying they're continuing to explore options for more things to do in 2017. Watch this space. Hopefully we're going to have some more updates for that to come. We've got some videos for that. Just watch here and you will see all the latest stuff from Nissan Australia. And on top of that, we've got latest from Michael Carcamo, the boss of Nissan Motorsport Global. Can't see Jan Mardenborough. GT Academy news. Elise Minorca, we talked about last week on the show, the first female finalist of the GT Academy. Well, turns out her boyfriend got through as well. That's going to be really interesting to see how the two get on at Silverstone for the race camp, the final. Who's going to be quicker? Boyfriend or girlfriend, and will their relationship survive that? That is going to be something fantastic to watch, and I will be well tuned in for that. But in other GT Academy news, and he turns to the script once more, we've got the top 20 who qualified into the international race camp from the Philippines, and actually only 6 got through. From the Philippines region, we have obviously Elise Minorca and her boyfriend, along with Jan Millard Lacuna, Richard Dean D. Jose, I hope I'm getting this right, Mervyn John Mallon, that's a brilliant name, and Kim Jaiga A. Chong. Australians heading to Silverstone in October, lucky them, are Chris McIvor, Michael Pryor, Oscar Redfern, Bradley Packham, Steve Danielson, and Kaishi Aikai, which is the best name of that lot, so we know who we're going to be watching. Anyway, the GT Academy International Race Camp takes place next month at Silverstone, so Silverstone in October. What a treat for those GT Academy finalists. So there's been some really interesting big news in the world of Nismo, and we have to go somewhere extra quiet to talk about it. As you can see and hear, the news has changed because we have a new GT500 Nissan GT-R. The ultimate GT-R is here. News from Japan, the Japanese Formula 3 Championship. Mitsunori Takaboshi is back in action. This is a guy who shouldn't have even been in the car at the start of the season, but is battling with Jan Mardenborough for the honours in the Japanese Formula 3 Championship. Well, he took wins in Okayama at the weekend. Jan Mardenborough is still managing to hold on to the championship lead, however, so that is going to be super tight. Now, Takaboshi has really proven to be a great talent this year, and I'd be really interested to see what's going to happen with him next year. Could him and Mardenborough team up in GT500? We'll wait and find that one out later in the season. Coming up, it's a really good weekend here on Nismo TV. We've got live coverage from the Blancpain Endurance Series at Nurburgring. That's why I'm on the camera on my own. I don't think they're going to let me do this again, but nonetheless, it's fantastic. There's also V8 Supercars in action, Pirelli World Challenge. It's going to be a fantastic, absolute brilliant. It's almost as good as the Nismo Weekender. So tune in on Nismo TV and you will see fantastic action live from right here, actually, the Nismo Technical Centre, which isn't really, but this is the YouTube HQ, but this is what I like to think it looks like inside Nismo. This week on Nismo TV News, we have a special guest, Lawrence Wiltshire. Who is Lawrence Wiltshire, you may ask yourselves? I ask the same question every day. Lawrence Wiltshire. Who is Lawrence Wiltshire?
Well, Lawrence Wiltshire is lucky enough to have been involved in GT Academy since 2008. I'm the project director is my official title, but essentially I've been involved in developing GT Academy, all of the activities we do at Race Camp, and all the training of all the drivers since it began back in 2008. So I feel very fortunate to be part of it.
So you've seen the whole process through. Now, we're going up to October, which means it's time for Race Camp at Silverstone for 2016. Now, without giving too much away, can you tell us a little bit about what you've got in store for this year's finalists?
We're still looking for the same things every year. Obviously, the core ingredients for a good racing driver don't really change, but the challenges will be updated a bit this year. But most of them are there to test either the physical side of the contestants. Obviously, we want to make sure they're fast in a car and adaptable in a car, and that they can cope with the pressure. So this year we've got 3 brand new challenges, an old tough one that we're bringing back, and we've got a bit of a change to the final race as well. So we're going to keep them on their toes.
Well, you can watch all of that on Nismo TV and in the GT Academy programme coming up, but more on that later. What I want to know, Lawrence, is how does the GT Academy compare to traditional race driver training? The
biggest thing, of course, is that they have no experience or very little experience, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The good side of it is that they've got no bad habits, and so when we train them on the driver development programme, we are effectively programming them with good habits from the start and don't have to get rid of any bad ones. The downside of not having any experience is they've got no competitive experience, and so aren't generally used to the ups and downs of or the downs and the occasional up of professional sport. And so we have to coach them quite heavily on the psychological side of things to be able to cope with the pressures of being a professional sports person.
Now, you've been through quite a few of these groups with GT Academy now, starting back in the days with organiser and Mardenborough, and now moving all the way forward to this year's selection. When you look at the groups, when you first meet them, can you pick out a winner? And going on from that, when you're sort of walking around down the shops, down at Tesco's or Morrison's or wherever, can you look at the guy and go, he could make a good racing driver?
We do have a little competition in the office, actually, as the pictures come in from the national finals of the contestants that are coming to Race Camp. We do try and have a little competition to see who can pick the winner just from their mugshot. We have had some success, but I don't think there's much science behind that. So I think the answer is no. I don't think we can generally sort of say he's going to be a good one. The physical side of motorsport is less important than other sports, I guess. It's more the what's in their head and their ability to cope with the pressure and the ability to take on instruction and apply it. So yeah, I'd like to think we could pick one out from a lineup, but we're not that good.
There's a lot of people asking on Nismo TV on the comments, how do they get involved in GT Academy, and what tips do you have for any of them who want to become a race driver?
First thing I would say to anyone is get on the GT Academy Facebook page, get yourself liked on that, and then you'll get updates as to when the next competitions are happening. Then you need to, if you're going to apply for GT Academy, you need to obviously have a PlayStation and a copy of Gran Turismo, and you need to practice a lot. There's a thing about 10,000 hours, and if you do something for 10,000 hours, you'll become good at it. Well, a lot of these winners have done that, I think, at least. So you need to practice a lot. You need to be dedicated, and that is a good thing for us, because obviously to be a good sportsman, you need to be dedicated and practice a lot.
The last question from me, Lawrence. How good are you at Gran Turismo?
Fairly average. We have inter-office competitions now and again, and I'd say I'm about mid-pack at best.
At best. I think he's talking himself up there from what I hear.
Yeah, well, we do enjoy it, so we enjoy the competition. I don't think I would ever be good enough to qualify for a GT Academy final, because the standard is so high. I mean, we have 1 million people apply most years, and there's only 20 odd that make it to Race Camp. So whatever crazily small point of a percentage that is that get through, you've got to be good to get here.
Now, this year it's quite an international competition. You've got a lot of people from all over the world coming to Northamptonshire at the beginning of winter. What do you expect their reaction to be to that?
Well, obviously it's always sunny at Silverstone, so they'll be basking in that the whole 10 days that they're here. But yeah, they'll experience some things that they've not experienced before. I mean, it's the nice part of Race Camp is that it does take people out of countries and over to the UK and see places and do things that they would never have been able to do otherwise. We had a competition in February a few years ago, and we had some guys from the Middle East on that competition, and it snowed at Silverstone, and these guys had never seen snow before, and they were out there throwing snowballs for the first time in their lives. So they do get do some life-changing things, and we'll be throwing some different challenges at them, and some of them will be nice, some of them will be not so nice, but hopefully they'll look back on it all and think it was a great experience.
So, Lawrence Wiltshire, thank you very much for joining us here on Nismo TV News. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of you in the weeks to come and hear a lot more from you, so we're looking forward to that.
Pleasure, look forward to it.
It's time for your comments, and there's been loads because obviously we didn't do them last week. So I'm going to take a look down and read them off the screen right here. So the first one is from Oanis H 5 days ago, and he's asked why I haven't got my own YouTube channel. Well, because race car and I'm doing this, so I can't do everything. But we'll keep an eye on that, and we might talk some more about a few bits and pieces to come. JP Motorsport says in the comments down below, you've got to put those in by the way, still no Canadians in GT Academy. Yes, because the Canadians have got microcarp. Look at Nicholas Hammond's Twitter feed, or look elsewhere on this channel. There's some fantastic microcup videos, and we're going to keep those going, and that is what Canada's all about, microcup. Microcup needs to take over the world, and we nearly did a whole episode without mentioning that. Cyclops94 says the production values have increased. Unfortunately, in episode 4 they increased, in episode 5 they were great. This one, not so much, but that's because everybody else has gone, as we said. Everybody's talking about, in the comments, we've seen them down below, and put yours in as well, a GT-R in GTE, the Le Mans GT2 class, if you like, or a GT-LM in the Daytona or the Daytona series, the IMSA series. Actually, he's suggesting why not have those series move over to have the GT500 rules in those championships. I'd love that, and actually, when you mention GT500, check this video out. Here we explain what the new Nissan GT-R GT500 is all about. It's a fantastic car. Check the video out right now. Ethan Pullen is asking, with a Nismo or Nissan backed, if not works entry, it's not a works entry, in the Australian GT Championship, can we see some live streaming of that series? Well, we'd love to. We'd absolutely love to. So all we say to Nissan Australia is, please. Gideon Ocon has a great comment, and I completely agree with this one. He wants to see some better liveries, better car liveries across the board on all the Nissan GT-Rs in GT3 and in GT500. I completely agree. It can be quite difficult to work out which car is which when you're commentating a race, let alone just watching it. He suggests more cars like Pink Zilla. I cannot disagree with that. It's a crazy car. Why would you paint a GT-R pink? Actually, my favourite one is Bumblebee, the black and yellow GT300 car. I'd love to see more liveries like that, but what we want to see is what you think of the liveries. Send in your own suggestions, put in the comments the ones you'd like to see, give us links. We'd love to have a gallery of the best looking GT-Rs, best GT-R paint jobs from around the world, but I think you can't beat Itasha liveries. Those are Japanese sort of cartoon style ones. They're fantastic. Uanis H, again, who suggested I had my own YouTube channel earlier. He'd like to see more interviews with Nismo engineers, Nismo staffers, race queens. Well, we'd like to see that. Make specific suggestions. We've seen your suggestions from Michael Kakamo. We hope he's going to be joining us soon enough, but we've got a whole bunch of other people lined up. So if there's anybody you want to see an interview with, we will try and bring that to you. Just put it in the comments, ask away, and we will do what we can. And I think that's about it for the comments for this week, but fire some more away. We'll answer with as much as possible, and we're going to bring you back to some more interesting locations and perhaps some better camera work than me sitting here drinking a cup of coffee, which I stole from a Welshman.